Forge FC have done it again and won a 4th Canadian Premier League title. What a game. Like, that was the greatest match through and through, all the way through in Canadian Premier League history. The best final ever. The first final where both teams score. The first final to go to extra time. The first final where the home team won. Just an incredible game, an incredible end to what has been an incredible season for the Canadian Premier League. And in front of just under 14,000 people in Hamilton, I could not think of a better way for the 5th season in this league's history to have ended. First off, let's just talk about the game. Let's get that right out of the way first off, right off the bat. Great game all around. Both teams came out playing. I mean, a little slow at the beginning. Neither team really got that many good chances in the first half. But then in the second half, things opened up a little bit. And overall, I think for the majority of the regulation time, I think Cavalry was the better team. Cavalry had more control of the game. They had better chances. They had some quality chances. Ali Musi was just excellent on the right side all the way through for Cavalry in this game. And in regulation, Cavalry probably should have won, except Tristan Henry. Tristan Henry is a keeper where every once in a while he can put up a special game, and he put up a special performance for Forge in this Canadian Premier League final. I think 2 quality grade A chances in the second half for Cavalry that they probably should have scored, that Tristan Henry somehow stopped. Like, Cavalry should have and would have won this game in regulation time had Tristan Henry not put up one of his greatest performances in a Forge jersey ever. Just the one sequence there where Cavalry gets the ball into the box, centered shot, somehow Tristan Henry saves it. I mean, I was in the bells, I didn't see it. I was in 112 on the other side of the field. I didn't see exactly what happened. All I know is somehow that ball did not get past Tristan Henry. Ball comes the other way. Badi Banya scores a chip over Carducci. I, for 1 second, thought that sequence was going to be like the greatest sequence in CPL history. The big save at one end, ball comes down. Called off for offside on the Badi Banya goal. That was upsetting, but it set the stage for even more incredible activities afterwards. And even after that chance, another great diving save by Tristan Henry later on in that second half. Cavalry played very, very well. They could not solve Tristan Henry in regulation when they needed to. And so the game goes to extra time. And in extra time at the beginning, Forge seemed to have a little more pressing urgency, but as the first half of extra time gets settled in, Cavalry starts to do what they've been doing all game, controls the ball a little bit more. Gets to Ali Musi at the top of the box. He puts in a fantastic left-footed curler. 1-0 Cavalry in extra time, runs over to the Cavalry stands, and I've been in many football stadiums over my life. I have not truly experienced a moment where a player scores and completely silences a loud, boisterous stadium. That Musi goal silenced Tim Hortons Field. It was eerie in the seconds following that goal. And for a second there, I think a lot of people thought it might have been over, because the CPL final at that point had never been won at home and had been a shutout victory in every single edition. But quickly following the Musi goal, Forge subs on David Chouanier, subs on Jordan Hamilton, adding to a lineup that already on the field had Taryn Campbell, Tristan Borges, and Benny Badabanya. 5 attacking players for Forge now. I mean, you're down a goal in extra time, might as well go all out. And near the end of the first half of extra time, ball at the top of the box, just outside the box, Benny Badabanya. Wow. He was having a game and he scored a banger of a goal. Top left of the box, top right of the net. Perfect shot, puts it in to tie the game 1-1. And at that moment, the momentum switched. At that moment, everything switched. At that moment, Cavalry was in trouble. Which brings us to the second half of extra time. 1-1, Forge now attacking towards the bellows, attacking towards the supporter section. And they get a corner. And Tristan Borges steps up to take the corner. And Tristan Borges has not had the best season for Forge. The guy who back in 2019, 5 years ago, was the face of the league, was the U21 Canadian Player of the Year, was just the League Player of the Year in general, won the Golden Boot. Tristan Borges was everything in 2019. And this season, for Forge, he lost his starting spot. He was a regular substitute. He was not in the starting 11 for the final. But he had scored a couple Olympicos back in 2019, and I was there with my friend, and as he's stepping up that corner, I turned to my buddy and I'm like, Olympico? That was mostly a joke. Extra time of the CPL finals, tie game. There is no way this guy goes for an Olympic. Are you kidding me? Tristan Borges scored in Olympico in extra time of the Canadian Premier League final to win it. In Olympico! Borges stepped up to that corner and said, I'm gonna make you all remember who the hell I am. The greatest moment, the defining moment of this league so far. Even if I wasn't a Forge fan, for a second in this playoffs, I thought that York, with that bicycle kick goal that was called for offside at the very end of the game for Pacific, I thought that was going to be the CPL defining moment for a second. This is the CPL defining moment. Like, whenever are you going to have an Olympico goal on its own is rare enough. In extra time of a knockout game? Never. Of a tie game to win the freaking championship? In Olympico? I've seen so many goals in my life. I've seen so many great games in my life. I've seen Canada beat Mexico at Commonwealth Stadium. I've seen Canada beat the USA at BMO Field for their first win against the USA in 30 plus years. I saw TFC score 4 goals in a 15-minute extra time half. I've never seen anything quite like this. Nothing has left me the next day shocked thinking about it. Nothing has left me the next day where I'm like, I cannot believe that that happened. I cannot believe that a player stepped up in that situation and said, I am going to try this, and it worked. What the heck? And from that goal, it was over. There was no coming back for Cavalry. Forge wins the CPL Cup. 4th title in 5 years for Forge. The dynasty is secured with that one. Still can't get over the Olympico. That was just absolutely bonkers. Cavalry, great season. Overall, great season for Cavalry. Won the CPL Shield, won the regular season, get a CONCACAF Champions Cup spot for next season. All of that, way deserved for Cavalry and well past due for Cavalry. They have been a class organization the entire way through. But something about Forge and playoffs specifically is just special. Because the thing about Forge in their entire history of the Canadian Premier League is outside of the playoffs, it's not like Forge have been this undefeatable monster of a team. 2019, they came second in the regular season to Cavalry. 2020, in the first group whole 8-team league stage, when everyone only played 7 games, they were 3rd. 2021, yeah, they did win the regular season, but they were drawn on points with Cavalry and won on wins. 2022, they were 2nd, tied with Cavalry and only 1 point ahead of Pacific. And this year, they were 2nd, tied down to the 4th tiebreaker with Halifax and only 2 points ahead of Pacific. So it's not like in the regular season, Forge is this unbeatable monster. In the regular season, Forge is always traditionally the same as all the other playoff teams. It's when they reach the playoffs, what they do, where the magic happens. It's this Forge team has mastered knockout football. And maybe it has something to do with all those CONCACAF league runs they had early on in their existence. Maybe that helped this team prepare for playoffs in a way that no other CPL team has had an opportunity to prepare for playoff football. But for some reason, after the regular season is over, everything changes and Forge becomes unstoppable. And that is the magic of this Forge team. When the season ends, when it comes to knockout football, when it comes to playoff series, Forge just has it figured out. And for any other team to win the Canadian Premier League, they need to figure out how to play in the playoffs the way Forge has. Because almost every final, Ottawa and Cavalry, you can argue, both, every time they've played Forge in the final, have rolled into the finals with better teams than Forge and have lost. But what an ending to this season. Fantastic 2023 Canadian Premier League season. Props to Cavalry winning the regular season and getting Champions Cup qualification. Forge, yet again, wins the CPL championship and yet again qualifies for continental competition. This will be their second appearance in the Champions League / Champions Cup. They lost to Cruz Azul in the round of 16 in the 2022 edition. And we get to see two CPL teams now playing in February, home and away, against much better continental opposition. That'll be just fantastic to see. I'm excited to see both Cavalry and Forge play in that tournament because I feel like one of them might make an upset. I feel like it's entirely possible, especially if you have the home leg in Canada. In the freezing February weather, you can throw off a team from Mexico if we play a team from Mexico in one of those games, just like what happened at the Azteca. So best of luck to Cavalry, and I hope Forge do well in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. But this is the end of the 2023 CPL season, the best one in league history. So that does it for this video. As always, if you'd like to hit like, if you want to see more of my stuff, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, link is down below in the description, and I will see you next time.